All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, the great millstone who teach and rule well, and citations to the Yakim out there laboring with the hopeful elect that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. And pretty much, we're seeing the things that are going on in the earth. We're seeing the adversary pretty much make his moves, to basically funnel in his agenda. And pretty much we know that the Lord is in control of all things, and we have to be mindful of that. The Lord said, fear not. The Lord is basically going to guide the ways of man, okay? Both sides of the fence, pretty much, and pretty much gonna just go through some scriptures and pretty much show examples of how the Lord is always in control, I'm gonna start off real quick with let's go with Proverbs chapter 21 verse 1. The king's heart is in the hands of the Lord, as rivers of water he turneth it whithersoever he will. And pretty much the man's mind, okay, the Lord is in control of that, okay. And pretty much there's been examples of that through the scriptures, not just speaking upon Israel, his own people, but pretty much the adversary, examples where the adversary was pretty much shown favor at certain points in time. But it was pretty much a bigger picture that the Lord pretty much brought out to benefit the children of Israel at the end of the day. Okay? This is pretty much the Lord's setup. This is the Lord's movie. Okay? He's pretty much the maestro of this orchestra. You see? But pretty much when you go into Romans, right, the 9th chapter, okay, the Lord set the order of how things are going to be when you pretty much are speaking about the main characters that are in with these scriptures, man. Because when we really go into it, we understand that this is all about Jacob and Esau, man. But I'm gonna start with Romans chapter 9, verse 11, and it says, and this is pretty much concerning Jacob and Esau, and it says, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. And you pretty much, election, is a choosing. You are electing somebody for a certain office, okay? You're electing somebody for a certain fate, and that's what the Lord is basically have done, concerning these two nations. You see? And it says, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, and it's pretty much, this is what the Lord had said to Rebekah, concerning the birth of these twins. You see? And it says, as it is written, okay, and we can go back into Malachi, in the Old Testament, and it's pretty much Paul pretty much reiterating, okay, the Old Testament, okay. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All right, and then when we bring this out, people automatically get into their feelings, okay. They're carnal people, so they think that this is something that we have constructed and bringing out forth in the earth, when this is actually history, all right, and pretty much the course of action that the Lord has taken, to fulfill his will. That's all, and we're reading it through the scriptures, okay, and this is a recorded act that has actually happened, But people in today's society pretty much get caught up in their feelings, you know, all right? And it's really through the wine of Christianity that has done that, you see? But it says, what shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? The Most High forbid, you see? And that's really the point of going into, oh, that's not right, or that's not fair, right? This is the will of the Lord at the end of the day, and we have to really, show forth the works of the Lord, and we're basically are doing that, okay? When we go into these scriptures and we go into certain scenarios that has happened, the course of action has always been of the Lord, man. Okay, whether another nation was shown favor as far as to the benefit of the children of Israel, or whether another nation dealt with us harshly. Okay, all right, for the recompense of our wickedness, man. Okay, it's all for the will of the Lord, But it says, for he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. And this is pretty much going back into, the account in the book of Exodus. Okay, when the Lord was dealing with Moses concerning the Pharaoh. All right, okay, but it says, so then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High that showeth mercy. Okay, and pretty much the Lord has shown mercy. But it's been a ways to go. It hasn't been a straight shot of being mercy shown. There was times when where we were not shown any mercy. Okay, you see, but at the end of the day, all right, in this sense right here, going back to the time when we was in Egypt, okay, the mercy was pretty much shown. All right, but it says, for the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose I have raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. And pretty much, the Lord has rose up Pharaoh to and when he was in Egypt, ruling to a great nation. Okay, you see, but we have to remember the integral part of Pharaoh's success was through Joseph. Okay, who the Lord was dealing with. You see, and the course of events that have happened to where Joseph had ended up in Egypt in the first place, okay, was the enmity with Joseph and his brethren. You see, okay, but what the Lord was still dealing with Joseph at the end of the day. When Joseph had to take the L amongst his brethren, and pretty much was in Egypt, but favor was pretty much shown, right, through the Pharaoh. Okay, all right, and that's pretty much another nation. All right, but it was for the purpose of what? The purpose of how favor was going to also be shown, or mercy to the children of Israel, to be able to come into Egypt at that time. You see? All right, but it says, well, anyway, with that, the power, okay, is pretty much being shown here in modern day Egypt. Okay, here in Babylon. How the Lord raises up a great nation, and pretty much, just to be able to bring that nation down. Okay, all right, that the Lord's name might be declared throughout all the earth. You see? So the Lord has raised up that nation, that great nation in Egypt at that time, okay, and pretty much brought it down to destruction. You see, and that was pretty much the Lord's name, okay, was declared throughout all the earth at that time. But pretty much, let me get the account, and it's pretty much a lot of accounts on where the Lord has basically shown His power in a nation, man. Okay, you see. But one account, all right, we can go to is let's go to Exodus chapter 23. verse 27. All right, and this is pretty much when we was going into the land of milk and honey, or basically going into the land of Canaan. All right, coming out of the wilderness. Okay, just one quick example is pretty much when we were about to take on these other nations that were in that land. And I'm going to start at the 27th verse, and it says, I will send my fear before thee, right? And will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And pretty much this was the fear that was on these other nations, because they had heard of the great destruction, okay, of how the Lord basically destroyed the Egyptians, all right. So now when they seen pretty much the children of Israel going into these different lands of our adversaries, the Lord put fear into these other nations to fear us. You see, all right. And it says, and I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, the Hittite from before thee. Right? Okay? So pretty much the Lord did this pretty much systematically. Okay? Because he sent the hornets to break them down, along with the fear, okay, of us coming through to basically conquer that land. Okay? And basically conquer these nations. But it says, I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. So pretty much this was a systematic cancellation, okay, or systematic destruction of these other nations. Okay, because why? It's because the Lord didn't do it all in 1 year. He pretty much laid it out to where it was systematically done to where the beasts don't overpopulate the people. You see? All right? And it says, by little and little I will drive them out from before thee until thou be increased and inherit the land. Okay, so the Lord basically raised us up to basically increase in that land and basically inherited it. But the systematic way of bringing down these other nations, okay, was pretty much plaguing them, okay, like he did the plagues in Egypt, okay, pretty much breaking them down, man, okay, and then ultimately having us to basically conquer them, you see, all right. So that's pretty much one example of how the Lord's name was declared throughout the earth, because these nations have heard of that. The nations have heard of the destruction of the Egyptians at that time. You see? All right. But I want to go back real quick and let's go to Genesis real quick. Okay, there's a little quick point I want to make in Genesis. Genesis 47, verse 5. Now, we're going to go back, and another example here was dealing with Pharaoh, and pretty much how Pharaoh basically had mercy on Joseph and his brethren, okay, when we first came into the land of Egypt, coming from Canaan, because the land of Canaan, pretty much, there was a great famine at that time. Now, when you go a chapter before this, in the 46th chapter, the Egyptians, they pretty much viewed shepherds as an abomination, and pretty much Joseph's brethren, okay, were pretty much shepherds though. But, through Joseph, who the Lord was dealing with, okay, favor was shown unto his brethren, all right, in the eyes of Pharaoh. So I'm going to pick it up here where it says, this is Genesis 47 verse 5. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, thy father and thy brethren are coming to thee, right? The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and thy brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen, let them dwell. You see? And pretty much Pharaoh, the Lord put the spirit on Pharaoh, okay, to give us the best of the land of Egypt, all right, for our flocks, for Joseph's brethren's flocks, You see, to dwell. Okay? You see, and it says, and if thou knowest any men of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle. And Joseph brought in Jacob, his father, and set him before Pharaoh. Okay? So now Joseph brings in, okay, his father, Jacob, you see, and set him before Pharaoh. And check this out. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. You see that? So the Lord was ultimately dealing with Jacob. All right. The patriots, the top patriot, okay, of the tribes, he pretty much blessed Pharaoh. You see? All right, because even with the favor being shown in the eyes of Pharaoh to Joseph, because Joseph basically was second in command in Egypt, and pretty much Joseph guided Egypt in that time through that famine, to be able to store grains and corn and pretty much have substance in the time of that famine. So that's what made Egypt so great. All right. And that was through a dream that Joseph broke down from the Pharaoh. You see? All right. But pretty much when you talk about the Lord being in control of things, okay, Pharaoh showed favor unto Joseph and his brethren, and then ultimately Jacob basically blessed Pharaoh. Okay, and the scriptures speak about, man, if nations do well to us, they will be done well as well. Saying that's all through the Lord. Bless them that bless thee. Roughly paraphrasing. You see, all right, and then the kicker with this whole thing was that even though shepherds are an abomination to the Egyptians, when he asked what is his occupation, he pretty much laid it out and told them that he's a shepherd. You see, but it did not even have any effect on how they feel about shepherds. Okay, why? Because the Lord was in control, and the Lord basically had favor being shown, man. And the scriptures speak about the Lord also hardening. Okay, so when time was for the Lord to harden Pharaoh's heart, the Lord did do so. Okay, to basically bring forth a purpose. All right. What? For the benefit of the children of Israel at the end of the day. Okay. All right. To really harden Pharaoh's heart, to really give us that deliverance, man. All right. So again, the Lord showing that raising this nation up, Pharaoh and this nation up, okay, to basically show the power in it, to where when he destroys it, okay, just same thing here with Babylon, man. This great nation is going to be in the eyes of the Lord vessels fitted for destruction, man. You see? Okay. All right, but let's get back to Romans real quick. I want to finish something up in Romans real quick. Let's go to Romans. Go back to verse chapter 9. Let's see. Right? So when we go to where let's read it again. All right? Right? This is verse 18. Therefore have he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. And it's the same thing when he's speaking about Pharaoh. Okay? When he showed mercy on pretty much the children of Israel, and pretty much that actually excelled him to be able to have be a great nation as well. Okay, but the hardening part, okay, which is part of the Lord's program, basically was the beginning of the end for him. Okay, that was his pretty much his destruction. Okay, but it says, "Thou wilt say then unto me," this is verse 19, "Why do ye yet find fault, for whom he have resisted his will?" Right? But who has resisted the will of the Lord? Okay? All right? This is the author that we're speaking about. Okay? And it says, "Nay, but O man, who art thou to reply against the Most High? Shall the thing that formed say to him that formed it, Why hast thou made me thus? So anybody, a man walking upon earth, cannot say, question the Lord of how your course of your fate, goes. All right, upon earth, you know. All right, what part are you playing within the Lord's movie? Okay, but it says, have not the potter power over the clay, of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? And going back to how, the Lord pretty much dealing with the Jacob and Esau now. Okay, the two main characters in this present day that are upon the earth. These other nations are just, extras in the Lord's grand scheme of things, man. Okay, ultimately they do play an important part, but they're gonna play an important part for the benefit of the children of Israel. Okay, because those nations are pretty much going to come up against modern day Egypt, man. All right, to fulfill the Lord's will. The Lord's the smith that blow with the coal, man. Okay, you see, but it says, right, verse 22. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endureth with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? And basically the Lord right now is pretty much enduring long suffering right now, because this man is pretty much being every day you turn on the TV, it's pretty much abomination after abomination that's going forth in the earth, man. Okay, you see, as far as policies and pretty much of how they're trying to have people, turn from any type of spiritual type of thing, any spiritual bone in their body, and basically turn to wickedness, man, to being worshiping Satan, man, at the end of the day. You see? All right? Okay, but the Lord is basically building up that anger, man. Okay? Right? To endure, right, with much long suffering, the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, man. And who's that? That's the nation of Edom. You see? And it says, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy. And that's speaking about Jacob. Okay? You see? Which he have done afore, prepared unto glory. And really, he done before. Okay, we was in a time to where, and really this is all set up from the foundation of the earth anyway. You see? Okay? But another aforetime, you see, was pretty much when we were shown favor, and we was basically in the 40 years of our glory, man. We want to talk about King David and King Solomon. You see? Okay? So the Lord is pretty much going to have to go through the long suffering, okay? And basically hand down the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction. And that's coming in this present time, man. You see? All right? But I'm going to get how the Lord pretty much has raised up this nation, okay, in this present time. All right? This is Jeremiah 51, verse 6. Right? And it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render her unto her a recompense. Okay? And this is speaking about Babylon right now. This is speaking about this present time right now that we're speaking of. And it says, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And pretty much Babylon has been shown favor through the eyes of the Lord, and it's been the golden cup. You see? All right? All nations have flown unto this nation and bought into the democracy, the philosophy. You understand? Okay? Nations have are pretty much to this present time, even when this place is on a decline, nations are still benefiting from this lustful place, man. Okay, a place where that basically is known for its appetite for delicacies, man. You see? All right. This is the nations where people come from third world countries, man, to come here to get a piece of this dream that they call here, man. All right. But pretty much the nations that come here and benefit from it, man, has been our nightmare. Okay. You see? All right. But it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her, pain. If so, she may be healed. But we have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven, and it lifted up even to the skies. You see, and that's pretty much, man, the time that we're coming into now. And pretty much people, these other nations are pretty much have given up on playing nice with this place. Pretty much being treated harshly and dealt harshly from their nation to keep this place propped up. And they're pretty much, man, the spirit of the Lord is putting the spirit on these kings. You know, as far as him turning their as rivers of water, turning it whatever way he wants to, and pretty much put it in the minds of the kings to come up from under the influence of this place, man. You know, and we're basically seeing that because they're detaching themselves from the monetary system and setting up their own thing. Okay, we're seeing the nations breaking away from that petrodollar. Okay, you know, but it says, right here, it's talking about how the judgment has reached up into the heaven, even as lift up to the sky. So the Lord is starting to make inquisition of this place, man. You see? Okay? And it says, verse 10, the Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our power. And it's pretty much how we're going to be rejoicing, man, in that time, man. Okay? And the scriptures speak about how we're going to rejoice in the destruction of our enemies, man. You know? You see? All right. Last precept I want to bring up is let's go to Revelation. Okay, we're gonna dive a little deeper into that golden cup. Okay. All right. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And there came out of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials that talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. You know, and that great whore, as we know, is pretty much Babylon. Okay, all right, and it sits upon many waters because of the fact is that this place is has his hand in everything in the earth, man. Okay, when you want to speak about military bases, when you want to speak about being the top influencer in the earth, you know, this is the place, man. You know, and it says verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. You see? And where the Lord was basically, this is the golden cup that was in the Lord's hand. Okay? That made this a great nation. Okay? Where other nations were pretty much in servitude. Okay? You see? And it says, verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 2 horns. You know, and pretty much, man, that woman is Babylon, the beast, okay, that is sitting on is pretty much the power structure that's carrying her, okay, which is the EU, man, okay, and NATO. All right, EU, pretty much the EU nations and financial sector of their power, and then pretty much NATO with the military sector of their power. Okay, but it's all connected, all together, intertwined. You see, okay, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and that's the colors of pretty much royalty, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, and having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of a fornication. So now you got to remember, the Lord is controlling this. Now the Lord has set up this place. This was the golden cup in his hand, okay, and pretty much they had free range to do whatever it was to do, you know, because they had power to sword, okay. But what they're pretty much taking it to the extreme with their golden cup, because that you got to remember, that woman is having a golden cup as well. Okay, but that golden cup they choose to have is full of abomination and filthiness of a fornication. You see, all right, and this is one of the judgments that the Lord is going to come up against this place for. You see, because right now they still have those abominations and filthiness, man. Okay, we're seeing it every day on social media. All right, and it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots and the abominations of the earth. And we already know about the abominations of this earth, man. How they're pushing the agendas, man. Okay, the lifestyle agendas that these other countries are pretty much rejecting, man. Okay, you know, Uganda's pretty much one place that they're doing it. You see, all right. But this is the great mystery, okay, that John pretty much saw. Okay, and it says, but that's the point right there. You see? All right? But this is pretty much the golden cup that was in the Lord's hand, man. Okay? All right? That's speaking about in Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, man. You know? But we understand, okay, now how the Lord is basically in control of all things, man. You know, and when he's showing favor, and there's pretty much more examples throughout the scriptures, you know, pretty much a real quick rundown of favor, you know, pretty much with Rahab, okay? You know, when she heard of the fear, the terror of the Lord, okay? When we were delivered from Egypt, you see. Another example was how favor was shown with the Persians, man. When we were allotted, where Zerubbabel was allotted to basically go ahead and start constructing the second temple, man. You see how favor was shown, all right? And even when kings came and pretty much had to make inquisition of what are these people doing, and we had denied them to build with us, though, man. We was building this over our power, man. Okay, you see, and right now the Lord is doing that right now with this spiritual temple that's being built, man. Okay, we're building it to our power, man. And this is something that the Lord has set up from the foundation of the earth, okay? And when you go into Romans, the 9th chapter, the separation of where one nation is for honor and one is for dishonor, you see? Okay? And basically Edom is set up for vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, how we see it right here in this present time right now, okay? All right? So now we're basically, this is a repeat of pretty much what was going on in Egypt, man. Okay, you know, this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt at the end of the day. Okay, but you know, the Lord is in control of all things, man. And pretty much, man, you know, we have to pretty much understand that, you know, things are gonna get a little, you know, antsy, you know, with the moves that he's making. But we know that, listen, this man cannot do anything above what the Lord will allow him to do. You know, and that's the point. You know, so with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Shalom.